So, so hello and welcome to another episode of Good Fat Life. And today, my guest is Dr. Kimberly Marooney, who is the head. I'll just say she's the head honcho at Gateway University. I just look at you and think of you as the head of Gateway
Well,
University.
that's me. I
That's
want to
you.
start out just by saying thank you, and I love how thanks for having me here, and I love how you're rocking us out or swinging us in with that beautiful song, intro song. I love that. I love how you've made good, fat life so sensual and juicy.
That's not me. That's Bernadette. But Bernadette will tell you that that's what we do influenced her, right? And
Awesome.
and we'll jump right into a couple of things. So, Doctor, we call her Dr. Kimberly. Is that okay? Reverend Dr. Kimberly actually is, if I'm more accurate, where I'm doing my PhD at my
Yes.
my youthful age, right?
And I am
And
so honored to support your endeavor because it is juicy and hot.
it is, and it's my brain is just bouncing. I'm please forgive me, and we'll get some grounding going on here. But there's so many cool things happening right now, and one of them that really makes my heart sing is my PhD project. And I always wanted to do a PhD in my life, but the timing was never right. But when I met you, or actually, I met one of your graduates, and Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard, and she was talking about the program and what you were doing, and it just sounded fascinating because, like you and many of the people that are good fat in our community, in our good fat life community, we're all, we're kind of like growth junkies. We're addicted to learning and growing and trying new things, and that just really gets us all fired up and inspired. But the PhD, the thing that's so cool about Gateway is that you get to like jump deep dive into your topic and to your work. It's kind of like, and you have a community to support you. So I'm working on conscious entrepreneurship, right? And I was just recently in Saudi Arabia with a concert that I was doing with a National Arab Orchestra that I work with. And there were two of the musicians I was talking to. And they were they live in Paris right now. And we just started talking, and they're both working on their PhDs as well. And
Wow.
and it was just so much fun. I mean, it was just so much fun and random to be when you meet people that are in that same place or even
Isn't
considering
it?
about it, right? Yeah.
I love working with our candidates, our doctoral candidates, because like you, they're mostly mid to late career. They've had a lot of experience. They've accomplished a tremendous amount in life. They've all taken a bazillion different courses. Lifelong learning is very important. They have all have a bazillion certificates, but what they really are yearning for has been a little elusive. So many of you in your cohort have been secretly wanting to have a doctorate for 20, 30, 40 years, but you can't even let those words get out of your mouth because they're terrifying.
And a number of my friends are doctorates, and I've got a couple of them that are like you work with doctoral students, right? So they're the ones in the big universities that are saying, yes, you get in, or no, you don't, or I'm going to be your advisor, or whatever. And they're saying, don't do it. It's way too much work, way too much money at this stage of your life for what you're going to get out of it in the traditional program. And what I love about Gateway is that's not true at all, right?
We're a non-traditional program, and I have to laugh about that because I used to think that we were kind of unique. But lately, when I was doing more research on what we do, how we offer our program, I discovered that even the traditional universities, like Harvard, are offering a non-traditional path, and they're calling it a non-traditional path. But even their non-traditional path is fairly traditional. And what's really different about ours is that we're not preparing academics. We're not training our doctoral candidates to become professors at a traditional university. Our students are entrepreneurs. They're authors and writers and speakers, and um,
And they have
they're
companies,
developing.
right?
They
They
have
have their own
companies, right?
companies that
They're
they've
running
done,
companies.
right? That they've run for
Right?
years and years. And
Mhm.
yeah,
They have, some of them have family, most of them have families, some of them have children. And so
and
you're not
grandchildren.
like, and
Yeah,
grandchildren and
yeah,
grandchildren. So you're not kids whose mom is still paying for you to go live on some campus and do the next thing because you don't know what else to do. Which, I don't want to demean that for a lot of people because that's really important.
right.
That's not who we serve. We serve working entrepreneurs, working thought leaders who have realized that something is missing, some piece of the giant jigsaw puzzle is missing, and it's actually the deeper research, the deeper science that underlies the work, the credibility, the proof of what they're doing. So most of our people have been going on their inner knowing or their intuitive knowing, and um, and they don't have anything in the material world to validate that work. And that's a large part of what the doctoral journey is about. It's learning that, wow, the validation actually exists, the science actually exists, the research actually exists behind what most of us thought leaders and soul based, heart based entrepreneurs are doing. We just don't know about it. And the ones who do, if you look on the big stages, the ones who do, the doctors, um, they have um, that secret sauce.
Mm.
And
Well,
it's through the doctoral journey that you discover your secret
secret
sauce.
sauce. Well, that was one of the things that was so much fun. Is when you said one of our first assignments, right? Is who do you want to be at the table with? And nobody'd ever asked that question of me before. And it was so much fun. I mean, it's like every single assignment, and we've all been in school and we've all done assignments, and it's not like, oh, damn, I have to go do my homework or I have to do my papers or I have to do my assignments. It's like, oh my gosh, I get to do this assignment, right? And it's fun and it's inspired and but it really pushes it's pushed me to the outer edges of what I feel like I'm capable of and then some. And so that's good. It's not like it's like, yeah, whatever. It's not easy, but it's so darn inspired and motivating that you want to do that. It's kind of like when we walked up the cliff, our cohort in Sedona. When we took a walk. So doc labs, talk about the doc labs.
Well, before we go there, I want to say one other thing because the
Sure.
doc labs are so much fun, and that starlight walk that was not a walk, that was a climb.
Yeah.
We literally, on
Yeah.
our hands and knees, climbed up the rocks in starlight in Sedona, but we'll get there in a minute. I'm just
Okay.
teasing you
Yeah.
a little bit. But I want to come back to a point you made in that in traditional universities, they pull you out of your human life, out of your regular life, and they sequester you in this academic atmosphere of study. And often it has very little to do what's actually happening in your real life. And one of the ways that we're different, one of the ways that we're non traditional, is that while you're working on a similar curriculum that you would in a traditional university, we're doing it in a way that supports your business, that supports your work, that puts money in your pocket. So every assignment that you do is actually designed to embrace and intertwine with the work that you're already doing so that you're bringing that learning immediately into your work environment. There's no waiting,
Right.
no waiting in the line to get to the end to get your hat,
Right.
your to get your hood and your fun little beanie. We make it accessible every step of the way. So through your doctoral journey, everything you learn, we're asking you to directly apply it to your work. So this is an applied program, not a theoretical program.
Right. Which is what the other part of that makes it so fun. So when I go to work every day, I'm simultaneously doing my work, but I'm also working on my PhD. And that's magic.
And that's why I mentioned the song at the beginning, because of your study. Your study is so unique and inspiring, and really, it's it's just very exciting. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your fun study and why that song at the beginning is relevant to it?
Sure, sure. So my study is I'm doing a musical, and this is the other part that's so cool about the Gateway program is if you had asked me when I signed up what my dissertation was going to look like, I would have had this is not at all what I would have said it looked like, right? But it has evolved into a musical about hormones and the impact of our hormones as we age. And so the songs, all the music is original songs are being written by Bernadette Quist, who it wrote the song to Good Fat Life, our podcast song. And we have dancers, and we have singing and dancing. And my colleague on the script, right? She's written like 9 plays or 9 movies in Hollywood, and so it's this collaborative thing, and the people that are showing up, it's like, how could you not have fun? And it's pushing. I mean, we're all getting pushed to our limits and then some. It's kind of like, I don't know how we're going to do this, and we're going to figure it out.
So it's educational entertainment. It's edutainment.
There you
And
go.
the education part is within the songs, within the story, there is real science and research, real medicine.
Oh yeah, and the truth is when I started Good Fat Life, we wanted to understand how good fat, played a role in our overall health and wellness, right? But as I've gone, we're in our 7th year now, and I've learned so much about, yeah, fat's important. It is, but it's one thing, right? Hormones, all the different hormones that we have a huge impact, but we don't understand them. We don't know them. It's been through the research I've learned about the role of estrogen and insulin and testosterone and DHEA and all of
And you're
those,
making them into characters.
because they are. They are characters with their own personalities, right? And I just, I know that had I understood the hormones that are in my own body as I was growing and changing, it would have made life so much easier. It just would. And I look at my granddaughters now and I see them, starting to coming into puberty and those. And so I want them to understand who estrogen is and the role she plays in your body, right?
Because she's strong.
And the relationship between estrogen and progesterone and insulin and all of them, they are very closely linked, but each with their own distinct personality. And when you understand that, it just makes everything easier. So anyways,
So who knew that you could do a musical for your dissertation? Who knew? That's actually a fairly recent development in the academic world. There are research dissertations and there are also capstone dissertations.
mm,
So a research dissertation is the one we traditionally think of as your doctorate. The capstone, though, developed starting, I don't know, maybe 20 years or more ago. Um, especially in the field of education, because curriculum, we needed curriculum. And developing curriculum didn't really fit into the traditional research model. And so the capstone model was developed to allow us to work on curriculum and administrative policies and other things that are product related rather than research related. And they still contain a similar amount of research,
Mm.
a similar amount of understanding. So they are still deep dives into your topic, which makes you a much greater expert than most everybody else in your particular unique field. And how fun now that we can channel that into a capstone project that's like a musical or a book or curriculum or a product of some sort.
Well, yeah, and to that point, I see my colleagues in my cohort, and that's another thing I just love about Gateway is we have cohorts, and which means that you start education or your program, and but you've got other people that are with you along the way, and so there's at least 10 of us, and some people have come in as they've started their program where it's appropriate, and everybody's an amazing human. Just cool, the stuff, and like you said, the life experiences they've had and the work they do and the travels they've done, and so you get to share. I get to share in everything they're doing and them in my what I'm doing, and we support each other and encourage each other, and because it's a lot, right?
Well, the
you
doctoral journey can be a lonely one because much of it is spent alone at your desk.
mm,
You're doing research, you're looking on the internet, you're writing, you're organizing materials, you're trying to figure out how things come together, how to do this, how to do that. And so it can be a lonely journey. If you were attending at a traditional university, there's often in the library a special room for doctoral candidates where they can go in and sit at a table with others and talk about what they're doing and share resources, share ideas, brainstorm together in person. But since we are a virtual university and we're all over the world, we can't quite do that. So we've tried to find other ways to inspire that collaborative environment. And one is that every month we meet on Zoom. So you get a chance to meet each other, to hear what you're working on, to discover that, oh, we're all just doing a slightly different version of essentially the same thing. Yours is more divergent than most, but the heart of it is still essentially the same. And through that connection, we're able to expand our thinking, expand our capacity of who we thought we were. So also we do occasional live events like the one you mentioned, our Doc Lab or our doctoral collaborative experience in Sedona, Arizona. That was very exciting. And we did that starlight walk. So here we were in beautiful Sedona. We wanted to make sure that we got out of the house, get our heads out of the work, the academic work, and enjoy some of the scenery that Sedona has to offer. And so we decided together, because that's part of the collaborative thing, we decided together that we wanted to be at the top of Cathedral Rock when the sun came up, because there's these two pillars that come up and you can get in the middle and see the sunrise up in the middle. But to get there for sunrise, you have to climb the mountain in the dark. And wasn't that an amazing experience of mutual support?
it was. It absolutely was. Support and respect, and because some of it was hard, but it
It
wasn't.
was.
It
We
was
were
hard
scrambling up rocks on hands and knees in the dark,
in the
and
dark.
coming down in the light was even harder.
Yeah, it was. But under the stars. And so when I say that there are plenty of opportunities where you're being pushed,
Mm-hmm.
that's a real tangible physical description of where you're really being pushed and shown how much more you're capable of, or I saw how much more I was capable of when there's a team of people around me that are all kind of doing the same thing, and they have my back,
Failure
and
is
I
not an
theirs.
option.
No, no, it's not. And there's something that's so magic about that. We're going to figure this out. I don't know
Yeah.
what it looks like, but we're going to figure
Yeah.
this out, right? And and then we have and then we have these hot seats where
Mhm.
everybody has the opportunity to be front and center focus, which can be a little intimidating, and you have to present your stuff or your challenge, and your team helps you brain mastermind through it. And that again is so valuable because the things people come up with are really brilliant. And it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, or oh, wow, oh, okay, or that's great, I'm on the right track. And so there's all of the above. So
Do you want to share? Are you feeling vulnerable? Do you want to share about what your biggest aha was when you were in the hot seat?
do I remember? I don't even remember what it is. And the what's good about that is those things that are the challenges or the limitations, we move through them, and then we just become, we step into it, and we don't even, it's like it was not a limitation. So I
Yes,
mean, go
yes.
ahead if you want to.
So it had to do with you discovering that you wanted to be more of a media mogul than you had allowed yourself to
Ah, right,
imagine. And
right.
look what you're doing now.
Right, right. It was so, and that was a big shift. That's right. And so that was a huge shift from just producing a magazine to creating a media platform where we have podcasts and workshops and events and the magazine. And yeah, we're just growing. We're growing so much more in the media realm and the whole point is to create a platform for people who are doing all these amazing things to share the news.
And what's underlying that platform is you're developing an amazing community.
Yes, yes,
And you're serving and nurturing that community with the magazine and with the pop up live events and the podcast and all the things that you're doing.
so and it's because of the PhD work, right? It's right. It's shifted everything, and it's opened things up so much for the way I think about it. But it's all of it. It's you, the guidance that you give when I'm having my doing my coursework. It's the guidance I get and the exposure with all my cohort, and it's the research, right? It's not struggling. It's like the caterpillar. You know, the caterpillar can't become the beautiful butterfly without going through the cocoon and having that liquid spread down into the wings. It's a struggle, um, but it's but it's part of the process. So
It is the struggle, the challenges inspire us, they uplift us, they invite us to expand beyond what we thought our capacity was.
was right because I teach at the college level, right? I knew that I didn't want to go to school to get a PhD to be in the academic world. That's not where my heart is. My heart is in the entrepreneurial business world, and it's just been such an amazing journey. And I will be in my next decade when I graduate, and my grandkids will be there. They'll be part of the ceremony and the process. And I was talking with my daughter, who's 42 now, this past week, and she's like, I'm really enjoying this age. And it's fun being in your 40s. And I go, well, wait till you get to your 60s, right? It's the every decade can be so much fun when you have things like this that you're spending your time and energy on, and you're surrounding yourself with people that are doing like-minded things. So anyways, I can't say enough positive about Gateway and the experience. And I would just encourage anyone who is growth minded, right? Loves what they do and has this feeling like there's a lot more out there, and I would love to be in a community that's going to help me find that. And yeah, I might end up having a doctor as part of my name.
Why not? You're going to do the work anyway.
Well,
You know, that's what we're really seeing with all of our doctoral candidates is you're going to do the work anyway. You might as well dive just a little deeper with a little bit of help, with a lot of support, and end up with a doctor after your name or before your name, with a PhD after your name. And that gives you a much deeper level of credibility, of value than you would have without it. It's
well,
a
and that
fact.
that has been is really interesting too. As I've watched the graduates ahead of me, they'll talk about the experiences they've had and the doors that have opened for them that hadn't before, um, because of the credentialing.
Dr. Jan is such a great example. She had applied to be a speaker at a conference, and they declined her. And then she got her doctorate still during, she finished and she got her doctorate still during their admission, their acceptance for a proposal period. She resubmitted with doctor after name, and they took her.
Right. And there's story after story about that, right? And so, and it's, yeah, and it's fun. It's just fun.
Mhm.
The doors,
Yeah.
the doors open.
Our, our,
So,
our Dr. Lisha said, at last, I'm allowed to know what I actually know.
so what would you say, if somebody's kind of has thought about it, is on the fence, what would you like to say to them?
Oh, just talk to me. That's the
Yeah.
simplest thing. Just talk to me. Let me hear what you're thinking about, what moves you, what inspires you, how you want to change the world. And then we can explore together, is this the right move for you?
Right. And another thing that I've had so much fun with is working with my parents. Both of my
Yeah,
parents are majorly growth minded. And so we've had the most amazing conversations about topics that I'm interested in studying, learning more about in my research. And they are too. And so it's all been, it, prior to me being in school, we talked about, normal stuff. And now, since I'm in school, we have the most fascinating conversations. We'll talk for hours and hours and hours about all kinds of interesting things that they are having fun with it too. Right. So it's
awesome.
like a family, it's a family project.
How wonderful. I love family engagement because that creates a level of support and inspiration for the whole family, a level of engagement with each other that's much deeper than you would have talking about the weather or a TV show
Or politics or something.
or
And
politics. Right,
and
right.
the same thing with my grandkids.
Hmm.
The same thing. I hope that this can be an example. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Life can be amazing until that very last breath you take. Um,
I'm just
and
so excited about what I learned about estrogen today. Can I tell you?
well, yeah, I can already see characters as the kids continue to get a little bit older, so we can have you be it's it's so much fun. I just can't say enough. So, and I wouldn't have this joy in so much of the work I do if I wasn't working on this, right? I just
Awesome.
wouldn't, because it's pushed me in ways, and I've met people that I just never would have met. So, so
Isn't
thank
that
you
the
for
fun
that.
of it?
That
Isn't
is the
that the
fun of
fun
it,
of it? When we're willing to step into the unknown, all kinds of miraculous, amazing, fun, transformative things can happen.
right? It can, and it's not just. It feels like throughout life. What I like to tell my students that are early 20s, late teens, it's like don't be don't have that sense like you have to make a decision and this is going to be what you do for the rest of your life. Right? I remember that stress. It's like, oh, if I get it wrong, I'm going to ruin my whole life. Well, no, that's not true. It's just another step. They're all kind of like one step leads to the next thing that leads to the next thing. And so at this stage, it's so much fun to pull on all those things that are now contributing to this next thing.
I was a flower child in the 1960s. And so, I remember many of the songs from the 1960s and
Mm,
the 70s. And for some reason, these boots are made for walking came up to me the other day. That is often a song that pops into my mind when it's time for me to make a change or something, when it's time for me to declare more of my own independence and inner power and inner knowing.
mm.
And the other day it came up, and so I actually Googled the lyrics. I watched Nancy Sinatra sing it, and I watched her little go-go dancers, doing the pony and stuff. And I thought, oh,
Yeah.
I remember that.
I
But
do too. Yeah.
and then I watched uh, Jessica Simpson do it, which is, a completely different version,
Yeah.
feeling to it. And I thought, what are I hear some lyrics in here that I don't usually hear when Nancy's singing it. So I looked up the lyrics, and there's a line in there that says, "You keep saying when you ought to be a changin'."
Ah, I
And
can
I
hear
thought,
it. And
"You
you ought to
keep
be,
saying when you ought
and
to
you
be
ought to be
changin'."
changing. Da-da-da,
And I thought,
da-da-da-da-da.
wow, that is so powerful. How am I saying right now when I ought to be changing?
Oh, I love
You
that.
know,
Right?
what am I hanging on to that I can let go of and be step enthusiastically into the unknown to allow something new to happen?
That's cool. All right. So,
That's what life
so
in my house is like.
you
I've been
keep,
pony dancing
yeah,
all around.
there.
It's a little different in this 60 something body, but I used to do it.
Hey, I remember my third, not to digress, but when I turned 8, I got a pair of fishnet stockings and white go-go boots. They were
Ah,
orange fishnet stocking and white go-go boots, and that dress that's straight with a little puff sleeve and a purse that matched.
oh, oh, I had the white go-go boots with a black patent leather stripe up the back and a tiny little bow,
Oh.
and my little A-frame go-go dress and fishnets. Oh, did I feel hot in that?
I know, but you know what? It's so funny as you're saying this. It's like I remember how cool just how cool and life was amazing and it didn't get any better than that. And that's how I feel when I'm working on my stuff. It's just
And
like
isn't that
anything's
partially the
possible.
influence of estrogen and progesterone?
To be continued. So, so on that happy note, I'm going to just do a little bit, part of Good Fat Life is the message is to create the opportunity, the support, the resources so that each of us can create the life that we want to live, right? And the last for 5 weeks out of 6, I have been traveling to the most amazing places all over the world, and with my family, some with just me and work projects that have been amazingly mind blowing. And if you told me this is what I would be doing, I would have said, "Sounds nice," right? Right.
Yeah, yeah, think
But
back to that moment in Sedona.
oh, yeah. I mean, there was many where you're just like, "Wow." And it's so interesting, but it's so interesting when you're sailing along, right? And all of a sudden, you get this idea and it's like, "Whoa, that I never in a million years would have thought that if you hadn't have said that or whatever," and it just changes everything. So so that's how life's been, and I am so grateful that I have Snedecor's cleaners in my life because I literally Got back last night, right? Opened my suitcase on the living room floor, pulled out all the stuff that needed to be cleaned because I'm getting back on an airplane Thursday morning, put my yellow bag out on the step, and my stuff will all be back tomorrow. So I washed the stuff I wanted to. I'm cleaning the stuff that it needs to be cleaned. And I know I have this total ease around that my wardrobe will be exactly as it needs to be. And there's just something really magic about that. And I'm so grateful for Snedecor's cleaners in my life. Check them out. They're part of your self-care. So, on that happy note, Dr. Kimberly, it's always a pleasure to see you and talk to you. And thank you for the work that you do to make the world a better place.
Oh, thank you. It's my joy, my honor, my privilege. It makes my life.
It is, I know. And it's been, your journey has been so fascinating to hear how you've arrived in your good fat life, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
And all those. So thank you so much. We have a new issue out. We are so excited about. It just is. It's our January, February, March issue. Lots of cool stuff. Check us out online at goodfatlife.com, and we'll see you next week. Take care.